Natalie is a 47-year-old renovation contractor in Barrie, Ontario. For 3 years, she collected harmonized sales tax on every kitchen renovation, every basement finish, every deck build, and spent it. Not maliciously, she just kept telling herself she would sort out the remittances next quarter. By the time her bookkeeper sat her down in January, Natalie owed just over $70,000 in unremitted HST, plus penalties and interest she hadn't budgeted for. She barely slept for a week. Then her bookkeeper told her something that changed everything. The Canada Revenue Agency has a program designed specifically for people like Natalie. It is called the Voluntary Disclosures Program, and it can eliminate every dollar of penalties, provided you come forward before the taxman comes looking for you first. Here is how Natalie's problem happens to thousands of Canadians. A sole proprietor or small incorporated business crosses the $30,000 threshold in taxable supplies, which triggers a mandatory obligation to register for GST/HST. Some never register. Others register but let the remittances slide. 1 quarter becomes 2, 2 becomes 6, and suddenly you are staring at a 5-figure liability you have already spent. Natalie was billing roughly $180,000 a year in renovation work. At Ontario's 13% HST rate, that is about $23,400 per year in tax she collected from clients on the CRA's behalf. Over 3 years, $70,200 in principal alone. Layer on late filing penalties and compound interest, and her total exposure climbs well past $80,000. If CRA determined her non-compliance was willful, a gross negligence penalty of 25% of the tax owing could push the total towards 6 figures. That is the scenario without the VDP. Here is how the VDP actually works. To qualify, your disclosure must meet 4 conditions. It must be voluntary. CRA has not contacted you yet. It must be complete. You cannot cherry-pick which years to confess. It must involve a potential penalty, and it must relate to obligations at least 1 year past due. Under the general program, CRA will waive penalties in full, grant partial relief on interest, and guarantee no criminal prosecution. You still owe every dollar of HST you collected. The VDP does not forgive the tax. It forgives the punishment for being late. Here is the part most people miss entirely. When Natalie registered, even late, she could request that CRA backdate her registration and claim input tax credits on the HST she paid on her own business expenses during that period. Materials, equipment, her accountant's fees, all of those carried HST she could now recover. Those credits reduced her net exposure meaningfully. The VDP turned a potential $84,000 nightmare into roughly $70,200 in principal owing, a painful number, but one she could arrange a payment plan for, without penalties stacking on top. Here is the single most important thing to know. The moment CRA contacts you, an audit letter, a collections call, a requirement to file, the VDP door closes permanently. There is no appeal, there is no grace period. Sequencing is everything. Natalie came forward first. She is sleeping again. If anything in this video made your stomach tighten, that discomfort is useful information. Act on it before someone else acts for you. Full breakdown in the comments.